Welcome, everybody, to Pessimistic at Best. I'm your host, Joe Venuta, and today my guest is Samantha Georgeson. Georgeson, yeah?
Yeah.
One unique thing about this episode, besides the fact that Samantha's not hosting it, is that we listened to the intro music in the room before we started talking, which apparently they don't do every time, but it's pretty fun.
It's a good warm-up exercise.
Yeah, like gets you into it.
Mm-hmm.
That intro music, I feel like, belongs in a Transformers cartoon. Like, you know, some sort of montage where the Transformers are turning from whatever vehicle they are into the Transformer.
Okay, why a cartoon?
It's just a little
It's
playful.
giving you cartoon
yeah, because
vibes.
like if you think about like not the in-person, the like real people Transformers movies, it's like Linkin Park, and like that's pretty locked in already. Like that's pretty cool. I don't know if have you seen the Transformers movies? Okay, all like 6 of them or whatever.
Are there 6?
Something like that.
I definitely haven't seen 6.
There was like, well, the one had Megan Fox.
That's the one I've seen.
She left at some point.
Is Shia LaBeouf in all of them?
I think so.
Okay.
We should ask Ben.
He likes Shia LaBeouf, or he likes
He just
Transformers?
looks like him and gets mistaken for him all the time.
Does he?
With his long hair, yeah. Not by me, but like other people, yeah.
You've been around while that's happened?
Yeah, I just know Shia LaBeouf pretty well, so I don't like I can tell them apart easily. But yeah, people like he's had people come up like, dude, like you're Shia LaBeouf.
I like really don't
all
see
seriousness. Okay.
Maybe the hair's a little too long now.
I can probably find some pictures.
Okay.
So yeah, let's do the intro. Welcome to Pessimistic at Best, the podcast where everything's made up and the points don't matter.
Is that my intro? Have you been practicing?
Okay, I might have thought of that one in advance. How was it?
It was all right.
Okay, minus 10 points to Samantha. Not off to a great start. Should have been a little more enthusiastic
There's
there.
a score?
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't matter though.
Okay.
You might have missed that part. You got to listen closely.
All right. We'll do the real intro this time. Are you nervous?
I can probably hear my apple chewing, huh?
That's okay.
Yeah. It's like a podcast thing.
Yeah.
Like,
this podcast has snacks.
yeah. Well, and people say apple juice is like what you drink when you're speaking, right? It like,
Who says that?
you know, podcast people.
I don't think anyone says that.
It has something to do with like apple juice is the same pH as saliva, so it keeps your mouth more moisturized. Yeah.
Where do you learn these facts?
Well, now I'm doubting that one, but if you could just let me benefit from the placebo effect here, the apple tastes good.
Okay, everyone, Google
I'm
that
talking
right
fine.
now.
Yeah.
Let us know.
This is all fact checked, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's bad
James
news.
also does that, yeah.
He's the fact checker, the chef, producer,
Yeah.
occasional guest.
Yes.
That's great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm so glad you could come on today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it, so I'm glad that you came.
It took a little convincing, but yeah.
Yeah, so I heard that you prepared a list of topics, which is really helpful because there's no way we could wing it. So I was wondering what we should be talking about.
That's the thing. We are going to wing it. There are no rules on this podcast. Are you comfortable without rules?
Yeah, no rules sounds fun.
Okay.
Maybe I'll ask a different question. What kinds of things do you think we should be talking about? People our age, people in our position.
I think
on
we should
this
be talking
couch?
about you.
About me. Okay. Anything in particular?
Your life story.
Okay. That's a hard one. It's actually not that hard. I'm in a pretty good position to tell it, but I don't know how interesting it'll be.
I think you're in the best position to tell it, arguably.
Yeah.
All things considered.
I guess it's taken place almost entirely in Madison, so that's kind of like exciting or not exciting, depending on who you ask.
It's exciting for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm still here as well.
Yeah, it's a good spot. There's something romantic and also very like...
There's something romantic about Madison?
No, about the idea of going somewhere else than you grew up.
Yes.
And I still get that. Like, you know, broaden your horizons, see other places.
Yeah.
How are you going to know that Madison's the best spot unless you go somewhere else and confirm?
It's worse, yeah. True.
Like, oh, they don't have State Street or like the Terrace. Like, where do you drink Spotted Cow? You know?
True.
Yeah. Where's your Camp Randall? Yeah, I think I'll do that eventually. There's just too many opportunities here, at least that were in a row for me.
Yeah.
Kind of kept me here.
No, that's fair. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, kind of same. And now you're one of my only friends here still. So you've been hanging out with me a lot. How's that been?
Well, it's a lot of pressure. I need some like reinforcements here. No, it's been fun though. I'm glad things are starting back up.
Yeah, same.
It's a little overwhelming. I think you talked about that on a previous pod at some point.
It's okay.
That's overwhelming to have a lot of things happen.
Yeah.
All at once.
It is. I think James feels that more than me. I like having a lot of things happen at once.
Yeah. At the same time, it's like a good reset.
Yeah.
To kind of decide which things are worth pursuing again.
True.
And which people you're still in touch with.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's pretty easy to keep in touch over the pandemic, but maybe not.
I'm so glad I made the cut.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a few more spots open up last minute. So we could take a couple walk-ons.
Weaseled my way on in. Yeah, that's good. No, I mean, that's fair.
One other time, I'll just keep talking unless you redirect me.
All right.
One other time, or unless I need to Apple. One other time where I felt like I had that reset was when I went to China my end of sophomore year. I was 20, I think. So whenever people are 20.
That was on my list of topics.
Oh, it was? Mm-hmm. So you do have a list. Okay. First of all,
just a mental list.
Yeah, so I guess there were a lot of strange things about that, but the strangest one, or like a good way to simplify it, is just I didn't do a lot of the things I had been doing my whole life for a month.
Yeah.
And I also did a bunch of things I had never done before for a whole month. And I didn't talk to anyone from home except for, I think, my mom and then Maya, like a couple of times throughout the month, just to let them know like I was still okay.
Could you? Like, was it allowed?
Yeah.
And you chose not to do it as much?
It was kind of like honor system, I guess. And also at your discretion. Like, that's pretty hard to be in that extreme of a place for a month for a lot of people. So, to whatever degree you needed to stay connected, or
sure,
you're supposed to be totally free from job responsibilities, but some people still might have had to like hop on one call or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
was
but
that
for the
like
most
a
part,
study abroad? What exactly was it?
Yeah, so it's kind of my understanding is it's a pretty unique program. Probably important to give background for anybody that doesn't know me too. What are we talking about? Yeah, so it's called the Wooden Fish Program. So you can Google that. I don't think it's happening currently between coronavirus and I don't know why I called it that instead of COVID, but we can use that name still.
Yeah, Miss Rona.
Yeah. Yeah, so between that and just changing political climate in China, it's not something that can be pulled off anymore. So what it is like there's one particular nun, Venerable Yifa, who's extremely involved in like the international Buddhist community, and she has enough sway just kind of in those circles to be able to put on this program, which is a 1-month thing. It's not for like students at a university or anything in particular. A lot of people there were in between university and grad school, or just outside of grad school, or that was a summer. Like, most people were post college, but just barely. So I was definitely one of the younger people there. There were also some adults.
How did you find out about this?
Well, I was kind of looking for something of this sort. I mean, there's a lot of like, I don't know, more and more like mindfulness type things have been popularized, which means that like I hear about them. And then that was something that interested me. And also just through having taken a lot of Western philosophy courses at UW, and they do a particular style of analytical philosophy that's very close knit with like scientific reasoning, I guess. Like, it's very reliant on deductive logic, like very like, I'm going to correct you and here's how I can do it in symbols. That's like an oversimplification, but it's different than I think what most people picture as philosophy. And it's very different than a lot of Eastern philosophy. So that was part of my reason, was to understand, to try and get in the mindset where you could process a whole different way of thinking. In pretty vague terms, but I was looking for something like that.
Yeah.
And the fact that there wasn't going to be a language barrier of me not knowing Mandarin, like a lot of it was in Mandarin, but there were translators who would, get us the gist in English. And a lot of it didn't really have to do with listening or reading. It was more like living the monastic lifestyle as those monks did, or as an initiate monk there would, and just kind of, having that day-to-day be your day-to-day. And that it ended up being the perfect program. I think it happened for like 17 or 18 years. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of grown over the years. So my year, I think we had 30 people, of like 30 males, 30 females.
Okay.
So like pretty large group. And then I think there were between 20 and 40 monks and nuns there. We didn't always interact with all of them, but like it was definitely a larger group than they were used to hosting.
So are the monks and nuns there all the time?
Yeah, they live there. So
okay.
I don't remember the exact sort of like terms for all the various levels of monkhood, I guess, but they're like committed and for the most part supported by the surrounding communities, and in exchange they perform a lot of like, I guess, like religious services, you might call it. I mean, it's the same way like churches here are kind of supported, except that there's been a large push in China to kind of revive some of like the historical Buddhist roots as a source of like domestic tourism, and also just to kind of take some more like pride in Chinese history. Anyone who knows anything about that could say it better than I. So
sure.
Please chime in, listeners, if you can correct me on that.
Yeah. Well, I literally think that's so fascinating. Also kind of an insane thing to do, but I mean, it's fucking awesome that you did that. It is really crazy though.
Yeah, it was. And one of the questions I got the most when coming back was like, was it life-changing?
That's a large question.
Yeah, it's a pretty natural question. Like,
I guess.
Especially if I haven't yet taken the time to like describe what it was like. They're just like, oh, you went to a temple for 4 or 5 weeks. Was it life-changing? And I guess a kind of like snooty response to that is like, I feel like any month of your life is life-changing, right? Like,
sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Think of you back in August. Like there are things that have happened since then. Maybe
I'm a different woman now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully every month you live will be life-changing in some way.
So true.
Maybe in little ways, but at least, you like to think you learn and
fair.
grow at least a little bit. But yeah, it was.
Like, how could it not be, you know? Yeah.
Right. I think I'm almost tempted to say it was worse, and like it was bad for me in some ways.
Yeah.
Part of it was the reset where I came back and I like didn't have, the biggest culture shock was just traveling in Shanghai for 2 weeks after, and like surrounding areas 2 weeks after the program, because I then had people to travel with that I had gotten to know a bit. But
you went with people from your program?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I went from like the quietest, most internally focused place I've ever been to the like 4th largest city in the world. I think there's 35 million people in Shanghai.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah. And nobody, like lots of people had English to the point where we could communicate. I had very, very little Mandarin. I traveled with my friend from Australia who was fluent in Mandarin, so that was pretty clutch.
That's nice.
But even so, like to pass conversations and not even be able to pick up a piece of it, you feel like very separated.
Oh, totally.
But at the same time, there's like this buzz around you, and like things are going on. People are thinking things about you, and you can't interface with it at all.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. I did have a lot of people ask to take pictures with me and say like Captain America. Like I was, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Like very blonde, I guess, from being in the sun a lot, and then.
So did you say yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I'm down to take pictures.
Yeah, cool.
I should have asked them to send me some. I didn't quite have like the language to ask for that, but I would love to have some of those pictures. Mm-hmm. They're out there.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's good to know. That's cool.
It was fun. It was fun being like a mini celebrity.
Definitely.
But, I think that was when one of those movies had just come out.
Okay. That's very cool. Look at you. You're famous.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that experience just kind of sounds crazy to me. And I feel like that's you are a very fascinating person to me.
Thank you. Now I feel pressure to say something fascinating. Usually doesn't happen.
I think you just did. I think you're all set. You met your quota. But yeah, because like all your personality traits don't really add up for me.
I've gotten that. I'm still, I'm trying to do the math myself, if you will.
Yeah. Well, okay, I always think about, and I feel like I told you when this meme came out that you were the first person I thought of, but like a local Madisonian made this funny meme that was circulating at this point several years ago. That was like, there are 3 kind of boys that live in Madison: boys that are in a frat, boys that frequent the plaza, and boys that work at Epic. And I was like, why are you all of those?
Short answer, I guess I put in the time,
Yeah.
I grew up here, so had a good shot at all 3.
Because if those things are all true for you, then you also went and like studied Buddhism and didn't speak to people for a full week, which is insane.
Yeah. The week of silence, that was one of the most bizarre parts, especially because it came at the end.
Was that the same week of not eating?
It was for me. So the mealtime, and I can't remember, all the underlying like Buddhist practices revolving around eating, but I'll try to describe what it was. You sit in silence, all facing the same way on these benches that are like extremely uncomfortable. Like you're very upright, you're almost on your feet, and you have 4 bowls. There's reasons behind that I can't remember. One is for vegetables, that's the largest bowl, and then there's a grain bowl, which is like usually rice or noodles, I suppose. And then a soup bowl, and then a fruit or dessert bowl. And you sit with those in a very particular arrangement, eat with chopsticks. There's like some rules about when you're supposed to pick things up, when not. And the main thing is like servers come around, and we all took shifts doing this, and you're supposed to set your bowl on the edge of the table when you want more food. And so it's all done without any like direct communication. Like the servers just walk through and they fill up bowls that are on the edge with the correct thing. And you don't communicate with anyone. You don't say anything. There's no noise. It's a very contemplative time. There's actually 5 contemplations that revolve around mealtime. I can't remember all of them, but they were along the lines of like, what did I do to deserve this food? What will I do with the energy it gives me? What are all the sacrifices that had to be made for me to be here nourishing myself? Yeah, that sort of thing.
Interesting.
So you really think harder about meals. And traditionally, monks don't eat after noon, I believe. I believe they eat a breakfast and a lunch and then fast the rest of the day.
Okay.
Which is like intermittent fasting for that time period is like not that unusual. But lots of times during the retreats, like what we did at the end of the month, which was a week of pretty much all meditation, whether that be sitting on a cushion or moving meditations, a lot of us took the opportunity to fast full time. So that was just water, and actually just hot water, because you had to drink the water boiled. Could have waited for it to cool down, but was kind of just used to it at that point. So yeah, that was
for like
just
health reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So usually when you're like obsessed with something, you might say like, I eat, sleep, and play basketball or whatever. Like, yeah, that was me before, right?
Nice. Very cool.
But this was like, you skip the eating part. It's like just sleep and just meditation. So yeah, that week it was really hard. When I remember that week, it's hard to tell things apart.
Yeah.
There's really only a couple instances of like discrete events I can remember.
Did anyone like break their silence or?
I heard that. So we stayed in guest rooms of between 4 and 8 people to a room. Mm-hmm. And so like you slept on tatami mats next to 4 other people. It was in my room. And then there was another section of that room that had 4 more. So like it was 8 of us in that room. After dinner, every day was silent time anyway. So no eye contact, no music.
That's so crazy.
I'm mixing up the rules with the week of silence versus after dinner time. After dinner time was just no talking.
Okay.
During that silent week, there was no talking, no reading, no writing, no eye contact, no motioning. There was just supposed to be no communication between you and other people.
I feel like some of those things though, like writing, could be not communicating with someone else per se. If you like writing in a diary.
Right. And
know?
a lot of people did journal during that time. I did during the normal part of the program, but during the week I didn't.
Okay. I
think part of that was just to deal with, or to have like as much of your environment as possible be internal.
Okay.
So,
God, that sounds so hard. I I could never do something like that.
Yeah.
Truly.
So to answer your original question, people did, I think, talk in their rooms. And there were some people who, and we all talked about this afterwards. We spent a lot of time kind of decompressing and discussing the experience. A lot of people like felt pulled in because one person in the room was struggling with the isolation. Mm-hmm. So, and when somebody like that just wants to like say a few things about how they're feeling to you at night, like, what are you going to do? Just stonewall them and not say anything?
Not say anything.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that. That would be so hard. And also, like, I would feel so rude. I don't know.
Yeah.
That is
crazy. It feels
crazy.
really rude. Or it would feel really rude.
Yeah.
I wasn't in that position.
That's good.
Everybody in my room did a pretty good job.
No one spoke to you.
Yeah. People had a hard time, though. And for good reason. I think I like...
Oh, yeah. If I'm alone for like 2 hours, I start talking to myself out loud. Absolutely. There's no way. I just can't even imagine. And the no eye contact thing is pretty crazy too.
Yeah, it was strange to just navigate and try and treat people as like just, the same way you would like a wall or like a fence, like you just walk around them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That part felt rude too. But also everybody was on the same page, and that's part of what made it so cool is like I wasn't trying to do this in my apartment in Madison. Yeah. I was living at Waterfront at the time, so quite the switch up. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, I guess I did do some stuff that my roommates might say was out there like that, but
like sleeping in a hammock.
Yeah. Well, that was every night. So they were probably used to it. It's actually, have you tried it?
No.
Should give it a try.
I don't think I'm going to.
Well,
I love my bed.
I'll continue to try to get you to try it sometime, anytime you bring it up. So
okay.
I think that's a fair deal.
And don't you sleep on it like sideways or something?
You can if you want. You get the ridge line such that it provides basically a flat surface the same way your bed does, even more than your bed does.
And you find that more comfortable than sleeping in a cushy, comfortable bed?
Yeah. And I guess when I'm asleep, I don't really think about how comfortable I am. So anywhere I can get asleep and wake up and not feel sore like that,
okay.
Fascinating
to me that you don't wake up sore from a hammock. That just seems like you're crunched up. I don't know.
Yeah. You definitely can if you sleep in it like a banana.
Okay.
I don't know if I've Googled the diagram for you. There's a diagram.
I believe you have. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, there's science to back it up.
Okay.
Or something.
Yeah. A diagram is science. Simple. Yeah. I mean, that's like a really crazy experience. And also, I didn't realize you were 20 when you did that.
Yeah. That was a pretty formative year, I would say.
And then you just came home and went back to life?
Yeah, I guess. That was like a hard reset.
I'm sure.
Kind of like we were talking about, the pandemic to some degree was a soft reset.
Yeah.
I would compare that. Yeah. I would say that was a hard reset where I came back and it was like,
I'm sure.
There were friends I literally hadn't talked to or thought about in months. Mm-hmm. Because if life gets busy and you don't see someone too often, then you're just off the grid for a month. I don't know. There's probably far more extreme examples of that out there. But for me, that was enough to come back and be like, I haven't even thought about hanging out with people.
Yeah.
And it was hard to be in groups.
I'm sure.
I hadn't had like a group conversation. It was like kind of overwhelming, which is weird.
That's not weird. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like literally going 0 to 100. That's like pretty a big shift.
Yeah. It at least makes me reflect on the fact that I'm now at 100 again.
Yeah. Look at you go.
Yeah. Well, like group conversations can still be overwhelming compared to something like this, right?
Yeah. I mean, sure. You're not overwhelmed right now.
We're just used to it. No, maybe at the beginning when James was dancing and playing the intro music and I was also trying to think what to say first.
Yeah, no pressure though.
Yeah, I just went with the standard, like introduce my guest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Welcome everyone to my pod.
Solid.
Yeah.
Well, do you feel like that experience did give you good mindfulness skills? Because I know you said also the meditation was kind of like not maybe the best.
Yeah, the opportunity to practice meditation, I think, was the best. Like, I think that's the best place if you want to go beyond, like, there's lots of, like, entry level, like, take 10 minutes at the start of your day to just, like, reflect. And then you kind of get to the point where you're actually trying to, like, clear your mind or inspect a particular point in your body or mind. There's various names I don't remember for the different forms, but that was a really good way to try and it's like a meditation boot camp in a way. I mean, we did 2 hours of practice every day, followed by that week of 15 hours a day or whatever it was. But yeah, that was part of, besides the reset, part of what it did that I think was bad for me, was that I feel a lot more like comfortable isolated.
Yeah.
Or I feel it was harder at first to value connections, even with people I knew in my head that like mattered to me. And those relationships mattered to me. The people did. And I was like, but I know I just spent a week very much by myself and a month like effectively by myself. And I was totally fine. And in some cases, maybe even more content than I was living the life I had 20 years prior, or for 20 years before that. So it's weird to come back and evaluate like, are relationships worth it? Is caring about these things worth it?
That is so crazy to me.
Yeah. So that's like why I don't still, and also I'm lazy, but like that's a big reason why I don't still attempt to practice meditation, at least like as the end goal versus, getting in a sort of mindful state when doing some sort of other activity. But it's too isolating and it's too disconnecting.
I feel like, right. Yeah. I mean, there are definitely other ways to be mindful than just isolated meditation. Mm-hmm. Definitely. But that's interesting. I mean, that's a very unique experience. I don't think there are probably many people who even get to that point. This is my mindfulness practice, this podcast and bitching about things.
It's good. Yeah, I really should be more complaining about this whole thing. I forgot it was a podcast for complainers and by complainers.
You don't have to be a complainer to be on the podcast. You don't really complain about things, do you?
Only if it's like part of a bit. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's true.
Actually, okay, let's see. I probably have some grievances. Give me a sec to think.
Air them. This is the time and place.
Oh, yeah. So however many months ago when James was talking about our trip to Tahoe, he said, you guys were roasting me for getting a layover in Atlanta, which anybody who knows their U.S. geography knows is the opposite direction of Lake Tahoe in California.
Very true.
When leaving from Madison or Milwaukee.
Yep.
And y'all were like that's a... I don't know. I can't even think of what you said because I don't believe in the criticism, but it was like, it was silly, right? Like to go all the way to Atlanta just to go to the opposite end of the country.
Seems pretty stupid, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Here's what I'll say.
Yeah.
When selecting flights, not just for yourself, but for a group, one of the last things on your list of things to prioritize is where your layovers are. Other things are like cost is a big one. Departure time and arrival time, especially when, there's work schedules to work around and you have to like coordinate some sort of transportation when you arrive. Mm-hmm. There's actual flight time. You don't want to take one of those Frontier, like 18-hour, 6-hour layover here, 6-hour layover here flights.
Well, your flight's going to be way longer if your layover is somewhere else.
It is going to be slightly longer in terms of flight time.
You're literally flying all the way across the country.
Right. Well, yeah, but like you imagine you have to go somewhere. You're not going to get a direct flight from Milwaukee to Reno.
I guess.
At least I didn't find one.
Yeah. We know.
Maybe, yeah. Well, anyway, you're welcome, everybody who was on that flight, for taking the time out of my day to find the perfect flight for us, which it was. Yeah. And then I think the Bucks were playing the Atlanta, I forget what their mascot is, but they look like it's the Chick-fil-A logo, basically. Hawks, the Atlanta Hawks in the NBA.
Isn't the Chick-fil-A logo literally a cow?
I thought it was a chicken, but it's just like a red bird. I don't know.
Okay.
Never mind. Yeah, so we were playing them in the playoffs or something when we flew to Atlanta. So there were a bunch of people in like all Hawks gear and all Bucks gear on the flight. So that was kind of funny because we saw some heckling going on.
Okay, that is kind of fun.
So wow, what a great bonus of having flown to Atlanta.
I factored in the entertainment piece.
I know. Most people don't even think about that. Yeah. Flight entertainment it's sacred. It's like nothing else.
True.
That's my favorite place to watch movies, I think.
I mean, they do always have good. Well, it depends.
Yeah.
It depends on the airline. I feel like Delta has good movies. You probably only got movies because you went on such a long fucking flight.
See? If we had booked the hour 40-minute flight, no snack cart, no movies, you guys. Go extra 45 minutes to Atlanta. All of a sudden, we're having a blast the whole time.
Perfect.
See?
I will say at least you had like a large group of you all doing that, because then when you have friends, maybe it's not as bad.
Mm-hmm. We didn't sit by each other on the flights.
Okay.
I got bumped up to Comfort Plus or whatever the like made up upgrade is. Yeah, and so was it James? Somebody else did. It was like everybody except for Ben on one flight, which was really funny. My man was in row 44. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, I know. Was he even on the plane? Like,
yeah, right.
That's so far back he could be on the next plane.
He's sitting in the bathroom actually at the back.
Like, hey, we have a spot for you.
Oh my God. So, okay. Yeah, that was good. I feel like that was good practice for you.
Yeah, I just needed to take this opportunity to defend myself after I was slandered however many episodes ago on my own podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So far, so good. You got a knack for complaining. You haven't lost your touch despite being so mindful.
Do you talk to people on planes?
I don't really. It depends. Like if my one exception to that rule is there's like a nice old lady next to me and they feel like chatting, I'm always down for that conversation because they're nice and I don't know, they're fascinating. It's interesting to learn about their life. They always want to talk about their grandkids, whatever it is. That's fun. But if it's like pretty much anyone else, my AirPods are in and I expect not to be spoken to. What
is it about like older ladies, I think you said, that makes you think the conversation's going to go a certain type of way?
That's a good question. I think it's just their sweet little demeanor, you know?
Yeah.
They're just interested in your life for absolutely no reason. Like they want to know where I work. They want to know about my personal close relationships. And like most people don't dive in like that. And they just go right to the heart center.
Yeah. There's definitely a higher percentage chance that they're going to be sweet compared to, I don't know,
literally
somebody like me sitting on a plane, just waiting for the snack cart, watching movies.
Yeah, but I don't really sleep on planes very well, so I like need entertainment. I typically listen to podcasts, but I'm down to have a convo if she's old and nice.
Sleeping on planes makes me really nervous because I am a deep sleeper and I snore. And if I wake up with my head on somebody's shoulder, I would just be so mortified.
The thing is, I'm a really light sleeper, but that is still, I'm terrified of that. Or like drooling. And like, I'm one of those people, if I do start falling asleep on the plane, heads bobbing. Hate that. That's embarrassing in and of itself. Can't be doing
get
that.
It together.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Exactly. So true. James like sleeps on he pulls out the tray and he can fit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, score. Yeah, that's the other thing. I'm kind of like wide compared to plane seats. I mean, I know other people have it worse, but even so, I try to be mindful of not taking up like both armrests and shoulder. Yeah.
I never get the armrests. That's something that I'm usually not afforded.
That's why I like the window or aisle seat is I can really just lean away from the person, give them some room. Except in the aisle seat, they will take your shoulder off with the drink cart.
Oh, for sure.
But I'm not mad because if I'm sleeping, then that alerts me to the presence of the drink cart.
Yeah. That's the other part about sleeping. You might miss the snacks, and that's kind of scary. Yeah.
Never in my life.
Yeah.
I have like a biological clock that senses the density of carbonated beverages at altitude.
What's your go-to plain drink?
Man, an ice cold Coca-Cola over ice that they always give you in the cups, even though it seemes like more work for them.
Yeah,
the drink's
so
already
true.
Cold. Or coffee. Coffee. It makes me seem like I have my like stuff together. Yeah. I wasn't gonna swear. James, can you bleep that out? Where'd he go?
This is an explicit pod.
This isn't a clean pod? Okay. Well, I'll stop tailoring everything I say to kids then.
Yeah.
It's been all fun and games so far, but time to get serious.
Time to switch.
Yeah, coffee makes you seem like, okay, this person's like got something to do.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Where are they headed? Yeah.
There's no way they're headed to Atlanta to then go to Lake Tahoe
Business
to just
trip,
goof
clearly.
around for a week. Yeah, they're drinking coffee.
For some reason, my go-to plain drink, and I really don't drink it anywhere else, is ginger ale. I get ginger ale every time I'm on the fucking plane.
Oh,
Like literally every every time.
You're lucky I was eating an apple. I would have laughed way louder. You got to be careful with that these days because people will think you're sick. Like,
is that true?
Yeah, ginger ale's for like when you're sick, right? Like your tummy's upset. Maybe not.
I feel like my tummy does get upset on planes, kind of.
Okay,
Something
could be
about
the ginger ale.
Yeah. It helps settle a stomach ache, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, unless it's causing it.
Okay. Well.
What kind of ginger ale do they have? Do you know the brands?
I believe it's Canada Dry.
Nice. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good.
The classic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also kind of, it's one of my pet peeves when they give me ice, but I usually never ask to not have it. They don't give it to you with water, but they give it to you with literally everything else. But then you drink your drink and you can't, I feel bad throwing away my cup until the ice has melted and I've drank in that like gross water at the bottom because otherwise I fill their trash bag up with liquid.
Do they not dump the ice first?
Into what?
I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm making this up. I haven't paid enough attention. Like once the drink has already been given to me, just ignore the drink cart. Get it out of here.
I feel like they just come around with the little trash bags.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's like, I always feel a lot of pressure to like, I don't know, like on my ice.
Do something with it. I mean, to be fair, this has to have happened to them like tens of thousands of times. If they were really bothered by the water in their trash bag, it wouldn't be on you. Yeah. That's one of those things. We live in a society of specialization. That's somebody else's problem.
So true.
But you can still.
I feel it personally. Yeah.
You can still do
what I feel is right.
Yeah. Take care of that ice. Yeah. Maybe I'll think about it next time.
Yeah. Something to think about for sure. When was the last flight you took? Probably that one.
Yeah. Yeah, it was that one. I was fully vaccinated. And so were a lot of people by that flight because it was mid-July. Mm-hmm. I did fly to Ecuador last January. Yeah. So that was like scarier than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Maybe just because I hadn't been in a tube full of people in a while.
Fair.
And so it was like, are we all allowed to be this close to each other? Like everybody's eating and drinking still. So that was like
2021. People were not vaccinated yet, but pandemic had been going on for almost a year.
Yeah.
9
months.
Okay.
Maybe it was beginning of February. So
yeah, that is an interesting time to fly.
Yeah, it was. I feel like people I told kind of like either judged me or were like, oh, that's cool, you're still doing something. We were fortunate to have like N95s that we literally didn't take off the whole flight. Like we would go huddle in a corner in the airport and drink water.
Yeah.
Or like a margarita one time.
Classic.
Yeah. Got to fuel up.
Yeah.
You must have enough fuel units. Yeah. But yeah, so I felt like safer with that on. And then mine was like a painter N95. So it had like the exhaust. I don't know if you've seen these. They have like a valve on the front that lets out everything.
Yeah.
So like I wore a mask over because it otherwise like didn't protect anyone else because it just like lets me blow whatever I want out of my mask.
Oh.
But filters everything incoming. So I wore like a normal mask over the top and also just not to seem like a try hard with the N95. I mean, it's a good thing to be, but it still feels weird.
You got to find the balance.
Yeah. Especially going to a country and flying in like smaller airports where like people were just, doing whatever for masks, like whatever they could find.
Yeah. I don't think I flew throughout the pandemic until I was vaccinated.
That's the responsible thing to do.
My first couple of flights were weird, I would say, but now I feel like I've gotten kind of used to the vibes. I feel like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we have masks in airports like all the time now. Mm-hmm. Kind of just makes sense.
It does. It makes sense for everybody except the poor folks who have to like enforce people wearing masks. There was one guy on one of my flights who was like making a huge stink about it.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, bro, it's been 10 months. Like,
I've only seen those people on the internet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I saw one in real life.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And he like, just to paint the picture, like, I'm actually not going to do that because that's mean.
That's fair. He deserves it.
I forget there's other people listening. Let's just say, it wasn't totally misaligned with how he presented himself. His behavior wasn't.
Okay. That adds up.
But eventually he put the mask on. So that was nice. But like, haven't you gotten to throw this tantrum however many times over the last 10 months? Yeah. And in a place where it's so obvious that you should be wearing one.
Yeah. Yeah, we went up north recently, and up there, absolute peer pressure to not wear a mask. It was like, we definitely didn't sometimes because of it, which is stupid.
Yeah. I mean, the density of people is just different. Also, lots of places. Yeah, it's kind of in a weird flux now where it seems more like the norms of whatever place you happen to be in.
Yeah.
City-wise or even building-wise dictate
what
you're wearing more than elsewhere. Or like, we probably still have a Dane County order. Or does that like end today or something?
I think it's actually supposed to end next week.
And they'll probably just extend it, right? Like
I think it's going to get extended. Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. I'm really glad that we still get to go to like shows and things.
Totally.
Because for a little while, I thought maybe those would just get canceled again.
Yeah.
And we have a lot on the books, you and I.
Yeah, stack of tickets.
Yeah.
That would have been, yeah.
So, and I feel like they're doing an okay job, but also they're still serving beverages. So like, it's just kind of, I don't know.
That's the only way they can stay afloat too. So I get it.
But you do have to be vaccinated or proof of like negative COVID test.
Yeah. I like the proof of negative test within 72 hours because like I feel like that's a pain to get compared to even a couple months ago when there were like community testing sites. Like, that might be enough to deter some people.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a good experiment though. Like I feel like things have went pretty well for having like concerts at the Sylvie for many months. You know.
Oh God, I know. I'm just so glad like some of those things are back. Like you said, with the reset, those are the kinds of things I needed to come back into my life.
Yeah, the anonymity of walking around and having people's face covered is even weirder now because a lot of interactions like this one, or just with like roommates or friends or whoever, are masks off. So it's.
Yeah, that's so true. Like I'm in a lot of settings, I feel like I don't have it on anymore, but that's also because I go to public places less, like bars or restaurants.
Feels like there's more of a separation, and this was true of the whole pandemic, between like private and public. Just like it's very obvious when we're in public because we'll be wearing masks and
totally.
Are you keeping 6 feet from me? Yeah. Okay, well then I'll keep 6 feet from you.
Yeah. I wonder how that'll change too as like the temperatures drop, because like right now I feel like I'm still doing a lot of going out to eat or things like that because I can eat outside. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
That's kind of sucks.
Yeah. Winter always crushes, you know, however many activities are out there.
Crushes dreams.
Yeah. We usually don't have to think about it yet. We've had pretty good weather.
Yeah. I mean, it has been like 80 degrees, so maybe I'm jumping the gun, but but it's already dark at like 6:30. Have you noticed?
I have. Yeah.
I sort of hate that.
And the sun rises later too, which is a bummer because it sucks to get up when it's dark.
Yeah, it does. Much harder. Especially when you're in a hammock, I'm sure.
So I don't have the hammock set up at my new place.
You don't?
Because I did get a bed.
Okay.
2 years ago.
I think we call that growth.
Yeah. So adulting. Yeah.
Okay.
And I got more than one pillow.
Wow.
2 years ago. Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah, I know. The bed's always been centered, so I pride myself on that. Some people still have theirs against the wall. No offense, listeners, if you do, but if you center it, then you'll get a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever much faster. It's true. Tried and true.
They have to have their own side of the bed.
Yeah.
Much harder if they have to crawl over you or something.
When Eric and I lived together, I made him center his bed. A week later, started dating Megan. They celebrated their 1 year anniversary however many months ago. And
congratulations,
moved
guys.
in together. Yeah. So
that's nice.
You're welcome to both of you.
I'm under if their bed is centered in the new place.
It must be.
You'd have to assume.
Yeah, you don't mess with a good thing like that.
Well, that's good. You're great at relationship advice. That's something I didn't know about you.
Thanks. Now that you know, you can take advantage of it so much more.
That's so true. I'm coming to you with all of my problems.
Yeah. What do you think you'd be doing right now if you weren't dating James?
That is a great question.
Thanks.
I have absolutely no idea. Truly, I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't be living here probably.
Wow.
Because I have no friends here.
And he works remote too, right? I mean, he has been for a while.
Yeah.
So it's not like he has to live here either, right?
Yeah, we're definitely at this point kind of living here. I don't know why we're living here. Because he's always like, we can go wherever, which means it's on me to decide, which is sort of stupid and annoying. But
hear that, James? Ownership.
But all of his friends are still here, like literally all of them, essentially. And then all of mine are gone, except, Adam.
So this is why we're hanging out right now.
Yeah.
I feel like you've had all your friends on your podcast, though, right?
Yeah. And sometimes I do it over Zoom.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've either listened to those episodes or been able to tell that it was on Zoom.
That's good.
Yeah, maybe.
I think a lot of the time audio, if you're just listening to something, you're probably not thinking about that, necessarily. Because I feel like now, if you were to go back and listen to my ones that are on Zoom, you can tell.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to not listen to podcasts that weren't recorded, like they didn't have high production value.
Yeah.
Which is like... I don't even know what to say about that. Like, picky at the very least. And like, I recognized I was missing out on like some conversations I wanted to hear.
Mm-hmm. You just got to send them a little message and tell them to get their shit together. Yeah.
You just fly all your guests out instead of like doing a really convenient virtual interview. Like, thanks. Yeah. Or at least,
Or at least send your audio to James afterwards.
Right.
Simple as that.
I feel like there have to be services, or if not services, at least independent podcasts that do this, where they ship like an audio setup, like a plug and play. Hey, set this mic up in your room. We'll do the podcast and then send it back to us.
Yeah. Well, like my old boss, her podcast, she would record it and then just like someone else was responsible for editing and uploading.
Totally. But
like completely like a business that she just like paid.
And you think that same business could be in charge of like getting your guests the audio equipment they need.
Yeah.
I mean, setting up audio is pretty annoying, so
yeah,
it'd have to be pretty simplified. Like you might have to use Apple products.
Yeah. Yeah, so true.
You say your dad listens to these or not?
I truly don't know. I'd have to ask him.
Well, you got a shout out on this one.
Yeah. No.
For those who aren't aware, Samantha's dad, in my opinion, looks a lot like Steve Jobs. Mm-hmm. So there's kind of a, we make jokes sometimes. And by we, I mean me, about like, just, Steve Jobs and Apple.
Have you ever met my parents?
You ran by my house that one time. I don't know that I have formally.
We got,
Maybe I saw them at one of James's concerts at Boss Meadery.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then maybe I probably saw your mom and didn't know it was her at Art Fair on the Square.
Yeah, it seems weird that you didn't say hi, but it's all right. Yeah. Next year.
Well, it's weird she didn't have a sign that said Samantha Georgeson's mom so that, all your friends could recognize whose booth it was.
Or you can just know her name. It actually is on the top of her booth.
Lots of weird stuff happening. Mm-hmm. It's nobody's fault, really.
Because my parents, literally, my parents were like, I'm seeing them later today. And I was like, oh, I'm having my friend Joe over on the pod. So then I can't meet up till later. And they're always like, oh, which Joe? Because they also still remember Joe Boyergroff.
Yeah.
And then I always say you. And then my dad is like, oh, the one who thinks I look like Steve Jobs. Like, that's you.
That's how they know me. Yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's the right level to know your kid's friend, I think.
Is it? Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Do they have any running jokes that involve me? If so, that's a good thing to know.
You're happy with that one?
Yeah. I'll take it.
Okay, cool.
He's got to listen to this now.
Yeah.
Now that we've unpacked it a bit.
I'll let him know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, by the way. Steve Jobs looks cool.
He always then proceeds to tell the story about how one time he was walking somewhere and he had a turtleneck on and some guy stopped him and was like, oh my God. And he was like, yeah, I know. So you're not the first, I'll tell you that. It's not an original. Mm-hmm. But it is, however, you really are probably the one who says it the most.
That makes it even better because if nobody else saw it, then it might be like mean or just like, why is he insisting on this joke? Yeah, like, right. Fetch isn't going to happen. You know what I mean? But no, people see it. Okay.
Yep.
Validated.
It's there. Data to back it up. But yeah, someday if you're interested, you can meet them. They're all right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No pressure, though. I've never met your parents.
Yeah.
You live over by Ruth, right?
I don't. My parents do. Yeah.
Well, yeah. That's what I meant.
And Ruth doesn't live over there either anymore, does she? I don't know.
She does not, no. Gotcha. She lives in Milwaukee.
Ah, the Big Apple.
Oh, no.
Yep, set me up for that one.
I guess. Well, that's it. That's your one for the day, for the pod at least.
So if you weren't dating James, back to this question.
Circling back.
Well, you told me it was a great question, so now I got to get as much as I can
dumped me
out of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you'd be doing the same thing for work?
I don't know. Not necessarily, because maybe I wouldn't be living here. So no. I think I'd probably be doing something similar. I probably wouldn't have a podcast. I don't know how to edit this shit.
Do you think you'd be working more or less?
That is also a good question. I don't know, because right now I'm working way too much.
How much is too much?
Between 50 and 60 hours a week.
Do you think about it outside of those 50 or 60 hours?
Yes.
Okay.
I am constantly stressed.
Yeah. What's on your mind right now? Have you thought about work this morning at all?
Definitely.
Okay. Do your coworkers listen to this podcast?
Sometimes.
Okay. So we can keep it high level.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you've thought about this morning in relation to work.
Mostly just a lot of stress for the coming week because I know it's going to be insanely busy. And our client hasn't been that happy with us recently. It's always stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought about work today?
Only because Maya asked me how my talk with my boss went. My boss, or like my direct team lead, is leaving Epic next week. So
that's what James brought up this morning.
Yeah, we got a coffee Friday afternoon, turned into a couple beers at Youngblood.
Nice.
Talked for like 6 hours, so
that's a long time.
Covered a lot. Yeah, we're doing 6 today, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
What are we at? Hour 1? Okay. Yeah. On track.
There's 5 more to go.
You have a whole list of topics, so that's good news. Mm-hmm. What's the longest episode you've done?
Probably one of my ones with Sophia. I don't know which one, but they're both up there. They're like an hour and a half.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Maybe even an hour 45.
Gotcha.
She has a lot to say.
Well, dang. Now if we run long, I'm going to think it's because you think I have a lot to say.
I mean, I always have a lot to say, but This
Okay.
is my podcast, so I have lots of opportunities to say it.
Yeah. That's a good point. As my podcast, it's also a great opportunity for me.
Yeah.
Back to what we were talking about. So this morning, I haven't been thinking about like my job per se so much as work in general in terms of opportunities, because working at a big company with a lot of, in some ways, a lot of like internal mobility, there's a ton of opportunities there. And it's easy to think I have so many opportunities there. Like which ones of those do I want to go for? But also, if you scale it outside of that company to the whole world, you're like, wait, there's a whole lot of opportunities, and a lot of them probably rock.
That's true. Yeah.
So
some of them might not,
but there's also less of a guarantee, right? If you're already doing well somewhere, it's like comfortable to stay there.
Well, yeah, I hate quitting jobs. That's something I literally hate it. Even if I just really don't like that. I don't like the act of doing it. I don't like feeling like I'm leaving people out to dry. Yeah. I don't like severing relationships. I just like all of the things are bad.
That's how they get you, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
You really want to let all these people down?
Yeah.
By not working for me anymore? Bad person.
Yeah. And I really hate starting new jobs. I hate being new and not knowing what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know I guess if you're always trying to grow and take new opportunities, then it should never really be comfortable starting new somewhere, right?
I guess, yeah.
Unless you're trying to move just like laterally, or just like, I want to do the same exact thing but for the branch in Chicago. Then it might feel similar. But I
mean, moving up is less scary to me. Starting like a whole new company where you know nobody and have all new responsibilities, where like the day-to-day is brand new, that's kind of scary to me. Actually, it's extremely scary, terrifying, yeah.
Do you think, depending on what you do this next week, something really bad could happen at work?
That's the thing. No. I mean, maybe like decently bad, but not like, no one's going to die or something. So that's always something to keep in mind.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Have you had weeks that you feel like this stressed out about in advance before? Mm-hmm. Yeah. How did those go?
My stress is usually, what is the word I'm looking for? Like I know what's coming. I'm never stressed for no reason. They usually are stressful weeks, but also stressing yourself out before a stressful week is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
You might as well just wait and get stressed out in the moment.
Do you feel like the work week, the way it's structured, 5 days on, 2 days off, makes sense for your job?
No. And I would really like that to go away. I think 4-day work weeks just make more sense for human life in general. Like that makes, I don't know, 2 days off is like literally nothing. We're so like business minded. It's kind of dumb. And I also feel like it's hard to go away from something like that, especially when you're in a field like marketing where like the marketing can't stop on those 3 days, but like it's so easy to just schedule that out. You know, you don't have, it doesn't have to be in the moment. It truly doesn't.
Yeah. Do you think you would like 10 days on, 4 days off?
No, I feel like by the end of those 10 days, I wouldn't be very productive.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be pretty hard to still be doing a good job. Because even after 5, my ideas are worse.
You're also kind of conditioned to like feel like after 5 you should be done. You know,
Yeah.
Fridays feel like Fridays.
Yeah.
They wouldn't if they were in the middle of the week.
So true. Yeah, no one could use the TGIF anymore.
Yeah. I promise I'm not trying to innovate on behalf of like the capitalists here. Like, look, if we just make them work Saturday and Sunday, they're not going to like slack off on Fridays as hard.
Do you think you would like to work 10 days in a row?
Yeah, a lot of my job, since it's consulting with so many teams, that especially during clinical hours, which are usually during the week, like or at least workday time, a lot of it depends on me being available most days. So like it doesn't really, as much as I'd love to work my 50 hours in 3 days and then have a lot of time off, just doesn't work for the type of work I'm doing. A lot of the obvious next steps out of this job involve like project-oriented consulting contracts.
Sure.
Where you might like work really hard for however many weeks in a row and then have as much time off as you want in between gigs, whether that's unpaid with benefits or whatever. Like there's good ways to structure it. And I think my personality, at least with like endeavors in my free time, kind of rotates. Like it goes in phases, and not just like I grow out of a phase, but like I'll spend 2 months being really into this particular author or chess. Before Queen's Gambit came out, that's an important distinction. That's when my chess phase was, not when everybody else's was.
Yeah, let them know.
Or like strategy board games, and I'll be like really into it for 2-3 months, and then I just won't do it again for like a year or two, and then I'll get back into that phase. And I feel that way about work too, where like
Sure. Okay.
when I'm on a roll, I want to work on that thing for the next 10 days straight and like cancel all my plans. And then when I have time off, I really want a lot of it. So maybe I just need to rein it in a bit with how I commit to those things. But it seems like there's jobs out there that let you do that.
I mean, I guess when I think about it that way, then like in terms of like projects, if I were to separate it out by project, if work would allow that kind of workflow, then sure. Because yeah, having a lot of time off is always nice. I feel like over a weekend, you're not ever actually doing like the amount of recharging you like probably need.
Yeah. How many projects do you have going at a given time? That might be a stressful question to ask on a Sunday.
It like really, really depends because yeah, that I don't even know how to answer that, to be honest. Because there's always like a steady, right? Because we're always doing marketing that needs to remain the same, social media all the time. But then we also have like a million little things, side projects. Yeah, like kind of a lot.
So I don't know, with things like social media campaigns, it doesn't make sense to do it all at once necessarily unless you schedule it. But if they just sat down and were like, can you work on this project until it's done? And only that.
If it was a fun project, then sure.
What if it's a bad one too, but the next one might be fun?
Then
it's kind of a leading question.
Pass, and I'll take the next one.
Oh, you just hit the pass button. Okay, that's something,
Yeah.
I lost mine at work, but
okay.
that really does come in clutch. I was just like, that as fun as that project sounds, pass. Yeah.
I got the next one though.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you on the next one for sure. No, seriously. If the next one's cool, like I might pass one more time, more. But then I got you. Like there's no way the third one won't be better.
Precisely.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. That really is how it works too, is the nice thing.
Yeah. Really good. What Enneagram are you? Do you happen to know?
Oh man, I think so. I have a couple friends who are really into it. I know Carly's probably listening, and she made me. That's the one with 9, right? Yeah.
Are you a 9?
No. Wait, guess. I have to have these up in front of me, but you should guess.
I would have have to see them all to guess right now.
We can make that happen. We have the technology.
You don't know off the top of your head?
I do know, but I want you to. I don't know all 9 of them. I do know which one I am and which wing I have, I believe.
Well, you have 2 wings.
Oh, do you have a dominant wing? Because you're a number and you're next to 2 numbers, right? And isn't your wing which of those 2 you lean more towards from your existing number?
But I think you kind of have a little bit of both of them in you.
Okay. That sounds like it would be part of it there. I'm an Aquarius, if that helps. You probably can tell that by now.
Okay. No.
You wish. James just asked if we're done. Yeah, right, James.
I'm looking at something.
He's playing on his Nintendo Switch in his room.
No, you just have to cut some of this out later.
No, this is okay.
Well, you can speed it up.
You could hop in for a celebrity shot, James.
Yes. I'm recording still.
James, it's not still going. You should put your deepest, darkest secrets into the mic right now. I used the wrong verb, but put them in there.
I feel like you're a 4.
4? What's 4?
An individualist.
Dang. I guess all of those would probably sound like insults if you just use the single word. Like, yeah, you're totally whatever. Outgoing introvert. Which number is that?
Outgoing introvert?
Yeah, I know that's not
I think
really
that's
one.
10.
Okay. Enneagram, I'm a 10. It's like a new thing.
Okay, but which one are you?
What's your real guess is 4?
Yeah.
I believe I'm a 3-wing 2.
Okay. An achiever. You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't.
Well, then 4 is your other wing.
I think it makes more sense if you read the weaknesses. Like, I think the strengths everybody
Sure.
Resonates with to some extent, and you probably need more help from people that know you to say what your strengths are. But the weaknesses are things I can look at and be like, yeah, those are weaknesses of mine.
Okay. Fascinating.
Maybe that could be said for a lot of them too. But yeah, when I took all the quizzes, I kept getting 3 and then mostly 3-wing 2.
Okay.
Do you know like what all your friends are also?
A decent amount of them.
Yeah. It's a thing, right?
Yeah. A lot of people like this one better than have you ever taken the DISC personality survey?
Does that have 4 letters? Yeah.
Those 2 are compared a lot.
Yeah,
and I feel like this one reigns supreme these days.
People will have that in their email bio.
Oh, 100%.
Straight up. Yeah, that's fire. I got to get more qualifiers in my email bio.
Well, and a lot of people too use it to manage workplace relationships now, because it's also how you communicate. And it's also how you, well, I guess that's also kind of love languages, but how you like to be basically appreciated.
You pair people up with a boss who has the same love language.
Not exactly. You just meet people where they're at,
I want to be on the team that's the gift giving one, or acts of service. Yeah, we just bring in presents for each other all the time. It's great.
What are your love languages? Do you know?
Probably words of affirmation, because I'm too self-conscious and second guess underlying motivations too much to take hints or
Sure.
feel truly confident about what something means unless somebody says it. Then I'll trust them.
Okay, so that's how you receive it. What about how you give it?
Maybe acts of service.
Okay, I see that.
But I like to get things done in general, so that might just be here's a skill I already have that I can apply there with little resistance. But
that's how I feel about gift giving. Really good at it, and I like doing it, and I think that's how I show love a lot of the time. Interesting.
Sorry, I was eating another apple.
It's all good.
I hope that doesn't come through on the mic. I was trying to be a pretty good
delicious.
distance. Yeah, so Samantha's been eating apples this entire time. If you guys heard her chewing, it's pretty gross. I've tried to signal stop that, but she hasn't taken the hint.
Maybe next time.
Gift giving's fun because you can go to whatever that maker's market is in Sun Prairie today.
Mm-hmm. There's another one coming here really soon, and it's right before the holidays. We should all go because it's
Perfect.
You can drink the whole time too, which is kind of fun.
Nice, yeah.
You're definitely going to buy better drinks if you're intoxicated. Or presents, same thing.
Yeah, you'll just go for it.
Yeah.
But that's fun because then you can pick out something cool and you don't have to deal with it.
So true.
Kind of funny you put the responsibility of dealing with the thing. I mean, hopefully it's a thing worth dealing with if you get it for somebody.
Yeah.
But
you never know though.
A lot of us have enough things to deal with, or at least in my immediate circle. A lot of people don't.
That's fair.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm a 3 wing 2 besides the weaknesses. What did you say you were again? You just told me.
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
Now you have to guess.
Let me look at them again. I was just going to wait until you told me. I'll read them out loud for those that aren't familiar. The reformer, rational, idealistic. That's 1. The helper, caring, interpersonal. That's 2. 3, the achiever, success-oriented, pragmatic. That's supposedly me. 4, the individualist, sensitive, withdrawn. That's not Samantha. 5, the investigator, intense, cerebral. 6, the loyalist, committed, security-oriented. 7, the enthusiast, busy, fun-loving. And Samantha couldn't keep it in. She's a 7, you guys. It worked. 8 is the challenger. 9 is the peacemaker. You're a 7, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've gotten 7 and 9 when I've taken it, but I get 7 more often.
Peacemaker, easygoing, self-effacing. Huh. I don't know what effacing means. You know what it means? Erase. Self-erasing.
I definitely don't do that.
We can unpack that later. Let's just say you're a 7.
Yeah.
Because we understand all the words there.
So true. Much more simple.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I love activities.
Yeah, you do. That's come up on the pod before, for sure.
It's also how I receive love.
Activities.
Spending quality time.
Yeah, that's a hard one, I think, for me to match up with because I like to spend time on my own or just like doing things.
Can't relate.
Like I'm totally fine not talking to my partner for a couple days, which is good because sometimes she's like scuba diving and doesn't have cell service. Literally underwater, there's no way to contact.
Yeah, so true.
Maybe like a flare of some kind. They don't make them long distance enough to signal anything from Madison. I'll look into that. Maya, if you're listening, keep an eye out for a flare.
Yeah, there are some opportunities there for extended communication. Yeah, no, I can't handle that. I love being communicated with. It's my favorite thing.
There was a guy in Ecuador, one of 2 brothers, Peter and Dieter, both German brothers.
Classic.
Who built a hostel together.
In Ecuador?
Yeah.
Oh.
Can't get over the fact that they're called Peter and Dieter.
Are
That's
they
straight
twins?
out of a Disney movie. Let's just say they are. I like that. They're similar age, so they might as well be. Peter, his wife Vanessa, I don't know. He's one of those people that will like open up unprompted, but it's like it's always welcome.
Sure.
And he was just like, yeah, like we got together because we had similar ways we wanted to live our lives, and like we knew we could foster a romance. And every year we take 3 months out of the year that we have to ourselves, and like we both know that about each other. And we like go our own way during 3 months, and then we meet up again, and it's like beautiful. And I was like, huh, like that is beautiful when you say it like that. Like I'd need to see a little more proof before bringing it into my own life.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That sounded cool. That sounded unlike how a lot of people handle their relationships.
Yeah.
Certainly not for everyone. I mean,
Me.
yeah. It can come off the wrong way too if you're like, I'd be fine not seeing you for 3 months.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, so you don't care about me that much, but that's not true.
I think I would be offended probably, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, you
I would
don't want to be the one to propose that.
Yeah. I feel like it's maybe different because you could kind of be like, it'll be hard, but then also you'd be like, well, then why are we doing it? Haha, stupid. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I'd be into that one.
So James's laptop is right here.
This is my laptop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's on his.
I was going to say he's just in there like actually playing Nintendo Switch until you're done. That's so funny.
Oh, maybe he is.
That's right. Yeah.
No, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, just I think he's actually editing a podcast as we speak.
Wow. On Switch. That's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the best editing software. You didn't know?
No, I didn't. Technology is crazy these days.
It really is, yeah.
Do you ever limit your screen time?
No, not actively. Mm-mm.
Do you ever do it ad hoc? Like you decide, I've been on my phone too much today. I've been watching too much TV today.
Yeah.
How do you know when that is? When it's time to limit or time to take a break?
Honestly, I feel like usually it's like I play on my phone too much. And then at the end of the night, I'm like, oh, I haven't done any of the fun things I wanted to do today. Like read a book or like, and then I put my phone down usually. Sometimes I don't though.
Nice.
Yep. How about you?
I'm not that intentional about it. I feel like it works out where, I mean, I'm not a big TV watcher, so that
Same.
helps because that's an easy one that can suck up a lot of time. Trying to do one show a year.
Wow.
Yeah, not to limit TV, but just to like get me to watch TV because there's really good shows out there now. I don't know if you've seen them. There's good ones.
Yeah. Well, and I also, that's the thing. One thing I hate about how much I don't watch TV is how much like pop culture and conversations I feel like I'm missing out on. Because like now everyone talks about, that's like that is literally James's first question he asks people, like, oh, what you been watching recently?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
jack shit. I don't watch TV.
But more than ever, like you have choice in what what kind of entertainment you're pursuing. So it actually does probably say more about you than like when TV was scheduled. It's
True.
just like what's on prime time, whatever a cable channel is, yes. Fox or something. I don't know. They probably had a channel. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my like worst screen time is my phone for sure. I play on my phone all the time.
It's kind of like a vape,
I guess.
but like, it's just a different form of ingestion. Just little squirts of dopamine, or serotonin's the popular neuroreceptor now, or neurochemical. I don't know. Shouldn't have tried to go the science route. It's the molecule, or something.
It's the best word.
I'm sure somebody in your audience will correct me, but it's cooler than dopamine now to talk about is serotonin. But I think it's still dopamine that you get from like phones and stuff. And they hack your brain. You saw The Social Dilemma?
I did not.
Really?
Are you disappointed?
No. I'm not even trying to sell it. I just feel like a lot of people saw that one.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh yeah, that is scary.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back on my phone now.
Yep.
Yeah, it feels like our, if I may be so presumptive as to make a claim about generations, it feels like our generation, people like maybe 5 years younger and 10 years older, that range is the only one that has a shot at figuring out how to deal with technology as we have it now.
Sure.
Yeah. You agree?
Safe to presume. Yeah. I would agree with you.
Okay. Why would you agree?
Because who else?
Well, you've got the older generations, the ones that make all the laws and have all the money.
I mean, yeah. I guess, though, I kind of feel like they don't even think about or use technology in the same way. Did you see that video recently that's been circulating of the guy who's like...
The Finsta?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the like senator asked the Facebook PR rep
to disable the Finsta.
Please stop offering the Finsta product. Dude,
fucking insane, yeah.
You know why those PR people get paid big bucks? Because they don't laugh in situations like that.
Yeah, really
impressive.
impressive.
You know how hard that would be?
Yeah. You could tell that she's like struggling though.
Yeah. It was like 10 seconds of funny and then like the rest has just been kind of like passively scary because I'm just like, okay. Like, those are the
it's
people,
literally speaking a different language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the people trying to deal with like the type A, high achieving, high IQ entrepreneurs like at the head of all these like crazy fast moving tech companies. Like there's no way.
I know.
There's not.
Yeah.
They're running circles around. Yeah. So
shit is crazy.
And then the younger generation. What? I can't sit kneeling like this? Okay.
You can. You can do whatever you want. Whatever feels right. Yeah.
Yeah. For those just listening, I'm sitting in a perfectly normal way on this couch. I mean, it's your fault for having this sectioned apart like this.
Okay. Why are you always hating on my couch?
I'm not hating.
Nice.
I'm just commenting.
That is exactly. It's the sectional. There are sections. You can do whatever you want with them.
True.
Have you ever thought about that?
You can do whatever you want.
And I am.
Okay.
I'm just living my truth.
Yeah. That's good. I don't want to judge your lived sectional experience.
Thank you. Well, too late.
But just let me live mine then. If I want to kneel, or sit side saddle,
get back up there.
I'm gonna sit side saddle.
You feel like that's what that is? What you're doing right now, you would call that side saddle?
Yeah. What would you call it?
I don't know. Sitting. I just feel
like a Shea lounge type.
Doesn't deserve a name necessarily.
Orientation. Oh.
Did you used to do? I can't imagine you would, honestly. But did you remember how kids used to sit like W legs?
Oh, like my right leg, but also on my left at the same time. Yeah.
That shit is crazy.
Why do you feel like I didn't used to do that?
I don't know. Maybe it's just because you're just like a large person. I can't imagine your legs would ever be able to get into that position, to be honest.
My
Maybe
hips are
as a
pretty
child.
flexible from weightlifting and like playing sports where you kick and stretch a lot. But I don't think I could sit that way.
Yeah. I don't think I could now either. Children have that going for them. That's like the one thing that they have over us.
That's the one. But yeah, I think I don't know too many young kids, but I'm pretty sure they're just completely in the hands of the devices in their hands. Like,
do you like children? Do they like you?
Yeah, they rock.
Do they like you?
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my mom's a kindergarten teacher. Like, I grew up
Okay.
always interacting with kindergarten kids, and yeah, I like kids. I like asking them stuff. They have good answers.
They do have good answers.
Really bad answers. Most of them revolve around Fortnite now, I feel like.
Interesting. Still? That's still?
Yeah, I was in a 5th grade class. I guess this was like, pre-pandemic, so
Okay.
some time ago, but yeah.
Interesting. I'm sure they're onto something else
Yeah.
now.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd ever have somebody you didn't know, like a stranger on your podcast? Like somebody you run into?
I sort of have.
Really? Who?
Her name's Liz. We met online. She also has a podcast, and I
cool.
volunteered myself to be on hers, and then I had her on mine.
Dang, I missed that episode.
She's
I'm not
cool.
up to date. I'm a loyal Patreon subscriber.
You
I'm
are.
not up to date on your episodes.
That's okay.
That's a quick plug for Samantha's Patreon. You've probably never heard about it if you listen to this podcast, but you can go and follow her, and if you use code Joe10, then you'll get
Let me know.
you will.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And then I'll also
Mm-hmm.
So it's worth doing. I think I'm at the $3 tier, so
You are.
nothing crazy. Do I get the bloopers for that?
You
Or do I
get
have to-
bloopers.
Okay, cool. I definitely want those.
That's where my video podcasts are going to start going.
Cool.
Yep. Someday.
That's a whole nother aspect of production. Luckily, you have a cool apartment.
Thank you. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah. It would be cool if you like met somebody on the street. To whatever extent we still meet people on the street.
Yeah, I don't think I've met anybody on the street in a while.
Well, how much time do you spend on the street? Like walking around talking? Yeah.
Like an occasional walk
If you
around the neighborhood.
If you had to think back to like the last couple months, somebody you interacted with for the first time, of that set of people, who would you want to come on your podcast the most? You just went to the Apostle Islands, right?
Didn't meet really anyone there.
That's
to be
fair.
honest.
You can interpret meet very loosely too.
I mean, I met a bunch of my coworkers IRL in July for the first time because that's when we went back in office.
Mm-hmm.
And there are definitely a handful that I've said you should come on my podcast too.
Mm-hmm.
So
It takes people a few reminders.
it depends on the person.
Yeah, not me. I was ready to go right away.
So true. Yeah. Has it been a good experience so far?
It has.
Are you
I
going
think.
to come back?
Actually, I won't know until I listen to it again. I've kind of like forgot the whole self-consciousness, one-way mirror facet to podcasts, but I'm sure when I listen back and hear myself say something stupid, or multiple things stupid, then I'll really freak out about it. But
Okay.
there'll be nothing I can do at that point is the nice part.
Yeah. I mean, that's not technically true. Like, if you really wanted me to take it down, I probably wouldn't, but.
Yeah. That would be, dude, what a ridiculous situation to be in. Just like spend all this time, record a podcast, like pretty low stakes.
Yeah,
No
definitely.
offense.
No,
but
that's not offensive.
at this point in the podcast life cycle, like it's not going to ruin any sponsors.
Yeah.
And just like, no, Samantha, you have to take it down. Like, I did not say that thing right the way I wanted to say it. Yeah, so I guess I could add like just a bit of a caveat that if I sounded like, stupid or not,
This is a safe space. Don't worry.
yeah, or not thinking of others or got anything wrong or you misspoke or didn't land a joke the right way, please know that I actually don't do those things most of the time. It was just a one-time fluke. It could even be James in post trying to make it a little more authentic by messing me up.
True.
So yeah,
Yeah, we're just out to get you.
yeah, just any sort of bad takeaways from this podcast. Just yeah, if you have them, no, you don't.
Okay. I like it. Well, so far, I think, here's my words of affirmation for you. So far, I think you've been a great podcast guest.
Thank you.
I'm glad I finally convinced you to come on my podcast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was worth it. It was worth all of the effort that I put in.
What's your love language? Gifts?
No, the way I receive
is
quality time. And here we are. We did it. We had a great morning. Breakfast.
Yeah. Thank you for breakfast, by the way. Shout out to James, the podcast assistant, and also Samantha for supervising and kind of sponsoring the whole project. James made some avocado toast, his and hers. You can see it on my Instagram story. That's at Joe's_cool_pics with an X, of course, on Instagram.
Yeah. Plug away. Yeah. What else you got?
What else do I have? I have an email. You don't really plug your email. If you want to sign me up for anything, it's just my name, joevenuta@gmail.com. Feel free to sign me up for whatever.
Send some fan mail.
Yeah, why not? I'd love to talk to anyone about any of the things I talked about today.
Okay.
Not that anyone would want to talk about them with me, but if you do, hit me up
just in
by
case.
Email or Instagram. I'm going to post again today probably, so
all right.
I'll shout out your podcast there.
Cool.
Yeah, check out Epic if you haven't. I don't know. Yeah, if you're at the hospital or whatever and looks like they're having a hard time on the computer, tell them to get Epic.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're a good employee.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think on that note.
Yeah. Did we hit 6 hours?
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed spending this last 6 hours with us just as much as we enjoyed it, which was a lot, to be clear.
Yeah. If you actually want to talk about anything, anyone that's listening, let me know.
He's a great conversationalist.
Yeah. At least this time around. Thanks, Samantha.
Of course. Thank you. And thank you guys all for listening. And I will chat with you guys again next week. Bye. Another cathartic convo in the books. I feel better. How about you? Thank you so much for listening. Now I just want to jump on here and say, don't forget to follow and or subscribe to the pod on your favorite streaming platform for new episodes every single week, because I know you can't get enough of me. Additionally, if you want to gain access to exclusive episodes and behind the scenes bloopers and lots of other goodies, join our Patreon and support the pod with your hard-earned American dollars. You can find the link in our show notes, or you can also visit us at patreon.com/pessimistic@best. And of course, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at pessimistic@best. And if you're as obsessed with me as I am with you, you can find me at Sam Georgeson on all platforms. And last but not least, I'd like to give a special shout out to my podcast editor and producer, the love of my life, James Arbai, whom I literally could not do this without. So thank you, James. I love you so much. And thank you guys for joining me again this week. I love you too. And I cannot wait to chat with you again soon.